Hey everyone, welcome back to Coffee with Crainer. Today I have Liana Desmarais on the show, president of Plantscape Windsor and Oldcastle Trucking. Very excited to talk about the landscaping industry and how Plantscape started. I believe it dates back to the 70s. But before we do that, where's your favorite place for coffee?
I actually don't drink coffee.
Okay, what do you drink? Is there I know you mentioned some type of caffeinated.
Yeah, so I actually drink, in the morning, I drink just water with a powdered substance called A-Cuts. It's got the equivalent of, I think, 4 coffee cups in it, but
Wow.
so it's probably more caffeinated than coffee, but that's what I drink in the morning. And then in the evening, I'm known to drink a glass of Prosecco. So.
Okay, good. Now, jumping into Plantscape, so it started in the 70s.
Mhm.
How did it come to be, and how did you get involved?
So my dad started Plantscape in 1976. And if he was joining us this morning, he would have told you he started it because he considered himself unemployable.
Okay.
Back then, he went to Low High School, and it's a trade school, and it generated a lot of entrepreneurs out of that school back in the 60s. And he had done a number of different businesses when he first started out. They all failed, and he learned from each one of them. Along the way, somehow the story goes that he was headed out to move out to Vancouver, BC with his brother, and they stopped in Edmonton. And his brother continued on to Vancouver, and my dad stopped in Edmonton.
Okay.
He started working for a lady out there that owned like a garden center. And back in the early 70s, Edmonton was growing, and there was a lot of office space. So people were buying tropical plants like this to bring back to their new office space. And then a week or two later, they would bring it back to the garden center dead. So my dad saw a business opportunity there where they could provide a service and a warranty that if you bought a plant from that garden center, a technician would come around once a week and water and fertilize and care for the plant. And if the plant died under professional care, they would replace it at no cost to them. So he created the contract language and really kind of a new business line opportunity for this lady. After a year, he hated it in Edmonton because it gets to be quite cold there. So he came back to Windsor and started Plantscape.
And is that same model operating in Windsor?
Yeah.
And has it expanded?
Yeah, so it has expanded. It's actually our smallest revenue line now, but we still do offer indoor tropical plants and service. So yeah, he started in 1976, and at one point he had over 400 accounts in the city, including the hospitals and Devonshire Mall, who remains a client today. And yeah, just slowly, little by little. Again, something my dad always told me was he never pushed the business pushed him. So he did a great job taking care of people's interior landscaping. So somebody like yourself would just come to him and be like, oh, you're doing such a great job on the inside. Would you like to, an opportunity to cut the grass on the outside? And he just figured it out. And then you'd come to him and say, oh, you're taking care of the grass. Do you want to landscape my home?
Yes.
And so it went from indoor to outdoor maintenance to design build.
Wow.
And then the last piece became the snow removal segment of the business. So.
And how did you get involved in the company? Were you always in landscaping?
No, I wasn't.
I believe you worked in the banking industry.
I worked for RBC for a number of years, but I'll say I was kind of always involved. I enjoyed spending time in the business growing up. You could have, there's pictures of me when I'm 10 years old sweeping the floor of the shop and watering the trees in the shade house. I was on a crew in high school planting the flowers on the maintenance team. And then when I was in university, I ran my dad's office and took care of his AR and AP. But then it came time when I finished university, I kind of grew up and got a real job, is what I kind of said. There was never really a plan for me to take over Plantscape, but yeah, that's kind of where it took me. So I worked for RBC for 12 years. My dad started Oldcastle Trucking when he was 64 years old.
Wow.
So when I said there was no plan, there was really no plan.
Yeah.
I kind of thought my dad would just be one of those guys at 82 running around a yard screaming at guys and, probably die with a shovel in his hand kind of thing. And about 4 years after he started the trucking company, so I think he was 67 at Christmas time, just out of the blue. We were just sitting there, and he's like, "Okay, kid, I need you to resign from your job and come run the companies." And I thought, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But yeah, he said, "I don't want to do the day-to-day anymore, so by March I need you here."
Mm-hmm.
And it took me and my entire team at RBC, including my boss at the time, by surprise. So I took a sabbatical actually for a year. I considered selling the business. I thought if I took a sabbatical for a year, I could maybe package these businesses up and sell them so my dad could retire and then I could continue my career. That ended up not being quite the case. So after 12 months, I kind of jumped in with both feet. And
what made you realize to continue versus selling?
it was actually my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, it was my dad who didn't want to sell in the end. So RBC had a great platform at the time. I don't know if they still do, but it was called Life Events. And we sat down with some financial planners there, and they just said, Mr. Desmarais, like this business, it has a brand, it has a presence in Windsor, but it's not a franchisable kind of business. So likely it'll be somebody local that would buy this. So what you need to understand is you've had this business for 40 years. It's older than your daughter. I was 37 at the time. And they said, when you go to the grocery store and you see a Plantscape truck, or you drive by a yard and there's a sign that says job done by Plantscape, we need you to think about the emotional side of it's not going to be yours anymore. You pull into the grocery store and you see a Plantscape truck. You can't go looking in the window to see if the truck's clean anymore, Mr. Desmarais.
Yeah.
And he thought about it. He thought about it for a little while, and then he came to me and he just said, I'm sorry, kid. I know you want to go back to your career, but I can't sell. It just meant too much to him at the time, and it still does today.
Yes.
So I said, well, I've been here a year, and at the time, honestly, I was having fun. So I just said, if I'm going to do this, like I'm 37, and the business was turnkey. I didn't want to coast, right? I didn't want to come into something and just keep it the same status quo and just kind of collect a paycheck. That's just not my style.
Yeah. So
I said, if I'm going to do it, like I'm going to need some authority to make changes and grow and see kind of my own path.
Yeah. And how have you changed the business since taking over?
So we've actually quadrupled in size.
Wow.
So that's probably the biggest notable thing. Everyone, when I run into them, they're like, we just see you everywhere. And it's like we went from having 5 trucks to 12. We went from having 12 employees to 47.
Holy smokes.
But I would say probably the piece that I've brought to the business has been the training, the development, and the technology.
Okay.
That's probably my biggest piece. I don't want to say it was easy necessarily to grow the business, but in the sense I came in year 40. We were established. We had good cash flow. We had, some processes in place already. So it was really just about refining that and then scaling up using technology. That hadn't really been done in the first 40 years.
Yeah.
So.
And now there's plenty of landscaping companies, few in Windsor, Essex, that are at your size.
Yeah.
What do you believe has led to that growth that maybe other landscape companies that are looking to grow around the area could take note of?
The one piece I would say is the training. It's really hard to scale up, and I learned the hard way. I'll be honest. In those first couple of years, trying to scale up, and what I called it was scaling up to chaos. When we didn't have trained people in the right positions that knew how to deliver and execute on quality, that was a problem. Right? It's not a problem for us anymore because what we did was we took a step back, trained, so that we could ensure that quality piece was there. I think anybody can start a landscaping business, but if you're going to be around for 40 years, we're going on 50 years next April, you have to be able to deliver on quality because we've actually landscaped homes where it's generational. We've done the grandparents, the parents, and they recommend us to their children, right? So you really have to deliver on quality.
And would you say that's very important to the consumer's price as well. Like if you're starting a landscaping company, should you be looking at delivering quality but at the cheapest price? Is that something that you found works?
Yeah, I'm going to say no,
Mm-hmm.
only because there's definitely landscapers out there that are cheaper than Plantscape. But the industry itself is an expensive industry to enter into. The equipment is expensive, and trained, skilled staff are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want quality, sometimes that comes at a bit of a premium price.
And what would be the most challenging part of running a landscaping company?
I'm going to say the seasonality of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something we also had to kind of work through. Being able to train skilled staff and then keep them throughout the winter. These are the guys that are used to, slinging ledge rock and boulders, 30, 40, 50 hours a week,
Mm-hmm.
having time off December, January, February, March. Sometimes we were finding we were losing them. And it was just, they didn't want to sit at home. They didn't want to collect unemployment. They needed 12-month employment just like anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So it was figuring out that seasonality to be able to retain our staff.
And what's the key to retaining staff?
So we use a program through the government called Supplemental Unemployment Benefit. So it allows me to top up my employees up to 95% of their average weekly pay throughout the off season. So, they're not struggling financially.
Mm-hmm.
And they can maintain a steady income, and then they come back to me in the spring.
Do you find that some employees would be job searching during that time, or no,
Yeah,
because of that?
yeah. I mean, in the beginning, if you think about not having the ability to pay your employees in the off season, most notably because they're not working. If they're not working, I'm not generating revenue,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's very difficult to pay somebody if you're not generating revenue.
Yeah.
So we had to make some changes there where we had to include those payments in the winter into our annual budget.
Yeah.
Right. So that in the off season, I can still continue to pay those employees.
And where are you looking to take Plantscape next? There's a lot of exciting things, some that you can't share, but 5-10 years from now, where would you like to see the business?
That's actually a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
So my passion, I think at this point, has come through is in the training and development. So
okay.
I do have a vision for a Southwestern Ontario training center. I've got some potential partners lined up for me in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just like to be able to facilitate and uplift the industry. This is a Red Seal apprenticeship skilled trade that I think goes a little unnoticed. I think, at the elementary, high school, college level, I think most people at least in Windsor, Essex, would know, electricians and carpentry and some of those skilled trades. They see it as, they refer to it as skilled trades. When somehow it loses it when we get to landscaping,
mm-hmm.
and they're just a landscaper, when in fact it actually is a skilled trade as well, right? So being able to educate the community, including high schools and colleges, that this is a skilled trade that you can actually make a really good living.
Yes.
And be proud of the work that you do and change and transform properties. That's kind of my message and what I hope to kind of have a lasting impact on, right? So I'm hoping the training center will do that.
Cool. I'm excited to hear about that.
Yeah.
And now your role as president, what do you believe has allowed you to be a good leader? What type of personality traits do you think you possess that really make you a good fit in the role and has helped you lead and grow?
Oh, I wish we had some of my staff here, to be honest, because I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
The only thing
how does Liana think?
I try and treat my staff like family. So that's the one piece that I kind of try and hold on to, is whether you're snow shoveler, laborer, all the way up to my crew leaders, foremen, sales estimators, designers. Everyone has my phone number.
Mm-hmm.
It's on day or night. Doesn't matter if I'm on holidays. You can call me. We started off as a family business, and we remain a family business. And forever, I lead with gratitude to my staff. My staff have carried on my family's business, and they go out and they create properties and beautify properties with that brand in their heart too. So that's the piece that, you know, it's more than just a project, right? They're more than just staff. They've become family.
How do you empower your staff? Do you have weekly meetings? Is there anything that really keeps them fueled?
Yeah, so I have an open door policy. We don't do a lot of formal meetings. Everyone comes in my office, and we can get kind of a pulse as to kind of where we're at. We'll pull people in as we need to, and everyone says I give them a long enough leash that they can hang themselves.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'll honestly say that's probably, I love seeing people do what they love to do.
So stepping in the way?
Yeah, without stepping in the way. So I often will tell people, I just actually hired a young lady, and I gave her a 12-month job description, and it encompasses some of those pieces for the training facility. She's really excited about it, and she wanted to talk 3 and 5 years. And I said, I'm one of these people that I want to see what you do and what you do well and what you love to do. And that's where I love to see people move towards. You know, if you start out here and you love being here, that's where I want you to end up.
Yes.
Right? Because I believe people do their best work when they're doing something they love.
Yeah, well said.
So if we can make that happen, and my company grows because of it, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
How can folks get in touch with Plantscape if they're looking for any of your services?
Visit our website, any of our social media. Actually, all the social media still goes to my personal phone. So if you're looking to get in touch with me, that's the easiest way. But our website, plantscape.ca.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time, and looking forward to the training aspect that you're going to be starting up pretty soon.
Yeah.
So be sure to support Plantscape, all your landscaping needs, and thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much.
Thanks. Talk to you soon, guys. Visit coffeewithcrainer.com to rewatch the episode.